Hey, what's going on everybody on YouTube? Steve here, Raiken Profit. This video is for beginners on eBay, and I want to give you 5 tips to make your first $1,000 on eBay. I've been selling on eBay for about 5 years now, and I've learned a ton. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I want to share with you 5 things that are really going to help you to get moving, to get you growing, and to make that first $1,000. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Tip number 1, make sure that you lift your selling limits. And what that means is when you're brand new and you haven't really done any business on eBay, eBay is going to put selling limits on you. They're only going to allow you to sell a certain amount of items and a certain dollar amount worth of items as well. So essentially what that means is it's going to take some time for you to prove yourself in the eyes of eBay until they lift your selling limits. Now, what you can do is you actually call eBay after about 30, 45 days. Once you've listed, you know, the max amount of items that you've listed. I'm not sure what the number is at this moment. It's always changing, it seems like. But hit whatever limit that is, create and conduct good business, and then give eBay a call and say, hey, listen, this is what I've done. You know, I've got good feedback. I've shipped everything on time. I've provided good customer service. Can you lift my selling limits? And I think there's a way that you could actually do it just automatically through your seller account, but I've had a lot of success just calling them, talking to them. Sometimes they'll ask you questions like, you know, what type of items are you selling? What are your goals? Where are you getting your items from? And as long as you could explain yourself, a lot of times they'll lift that up. But get your selling limits lifted as soon as you can, because as we progress in this video, you're gonna know why. But the key is really listing more items, but we'll get to that. Number 2, like I said, list a lot of items. But not only list a lot of items, list every single day if you can. I found from my experience that I've actually had more success, and I don't know if it's all in my head or not, but I've had more success listing every single day and getting, you know, 5, 10 items up every day versus listing like 30 items in one day and only doing that once a week. I think eBay just rewards sellers for being consistent, for consistently putting out new listings and providing business for their customers. So list every single day if you can. If you can't do that, you might even want to consider scheduling out your listings as well, which I know it does cost a little bit of money, but that might be a good option for you. But just list a lot, list as much as you possibly can. That's really what I want you to get out of this tip right here. List, 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 list. Create a listing routine, create a schedule, create a habit. You know, when I had first gotten started selling on eBay and I was doing it full time, and I was still living at home with my parents. This was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I didn't need to make a ton of money. But at that point, listing 10 items a day with the items that I was listing, I was selling like higher-end clothing, men's clothing. I was actually able to hit my goal, and I was making a couple $1,000s a month, which was enough for me at the time. I didn't have many bills, but that was my goal. Every single day, I would wake up in the morning, I would get my mannequin ready. I actually had a hanging mannequin. I used to hang it on the wall. Used to get my camera ready, used to get the 10 items ready, bring it into the living room, and I would list my 10 items. I would photograph and get all my items ready, and then I would go on the computer and list them. But that was my routine. That was my habit. 10 items a day, 5 days a week. That was it. So figure out, you know, based on like reverse engineer, okay, here's my goal. I want to hit $1,000 this month. I've got to list this many items at an average selling price of this. Just think through it, but you can do it. Create a listing routine. Number 3, invest in a store as soon as you can. And there's a lot of benefits to having an eBay store. I'm not going to go through all of them in this video, but the biggest benefit to having a store is you can actually run sales, right? You can go through the markdown manager, that's what it's called, and you could run a sale on your store. And this is magical. It is powerful. If you're having slow sales, things aren't moving, or you just want to boost the velocity of sales in your store, run a sale. It could be 5%, 10%, 15%. I typically am running sales all the time. So that's one of the biggest benefits to having a store. Now it is going to cost you some money, 15, 20 bucks a month. But run sales. I hear people complaining all the time. My sales are slow on eBay. What do? Run sales, right? Run sales. It's really important. Number 4, one of the biggest mistakes I've seen people make who want to make their first $500, first $1,000 a month, or just start having success is they're focusing on the wrong items. Problem number 1 is the profit margins are just too low. So when it sells, it's not really worth their time, right? They'd be better off literally going to a minimum wage job. So that's problem number 1. And problem number 2 is there's not a big enough market for it. And what I mean by that is, think of like, I don't have an example. I was looking, oh, here they are right here. Think of like these Apple AirPods right here. I could go onto eBay and these things are probably selling like all day long because Apple, it has a huge market. There's a huge following. People love Apple. There's tons of people looking for it, right? So not only is that going to keep the price up, but it's also going to keep the sales velocity up as well. That's an example of something that has a market. Now think of something like, this is such a bad example, chapstick. I don't know. Think of something though, maybe it's a clothing item or a clothing brand or a certain type of chapstick. Yeah, I just went there. Maybe it's not that popular. Maybe people don't know that brand, or maybe it's just not selling a lot on eBay. You can go onto eBay and check the sold listings to see how much the item's selling for, how many are selling per day. But it's really important that not only the profit margins are there, but there's a market for it. So do your research before you start listing items on eBay to make sure it's actually, one, selling for a good enough profit, and number two, it's actually selling, right? I've seen so many people list up 100, 200, 300 items and they're not selling, and they're running sales, they're priced competitively, they're taking great pictures, and they're like, Steve, why aren't my items selling? Because nobody wants your items. Like, you've got to focus on good products. So that's really important. And number 5, this probably is the biggest thing that holds people back from making their first $1,000, is they just get discouraged too quickly. They don't like the fact that they have to put in some hard work to get their selling limits raised. They have a hard time building a routine and getting into that consistency of listing 5 items, 10 items a day. You know, they're running sales, things just aren't selling, they don't get it. It's because they're not choosing the right products, and maybe their items are selling, but it's not selling for enough money, because it takes time. It's a learning curve to figure out what to sell and how to take great pictures and keyword research and, you know, listing on your phone and creating efficiencies. It just takes time. So, you know, the biggest mistake and the tip is, don't get discouraged. Hang in there. Surround yourself with positive people. There's a huge community on YouTube of amazing eBay resellers sharing content. There's tons of free Facebook groups. There's all different types of you know, pieces of content and information out there that can help you. So surround yourself with people who are already having success. Don't give up. Don't quit. Keep pushing forward every single day. Keep trying to grow 1%. It's all about the slight edge. It's all about, you know, moving ahead 1% each day, and just don't give up. Don't quit. There are going to be times on eBay when things just suck. They just do. Things just aren't selling. You might even have great products. You might be running a sale. You might have great feedback in your store, and things just don't sell. Like, that's one known fact about eBay, is it's always like this. It's always like that. You can ask the top sellers who are on eBay, and then you can ask the beginners. It's part of the game, and it kind of drives me crazy to an extent, because I have a lot of friends who sell on eBay, just personal ones, even off of YouTube, and they're always complaining, like periodically, like maybe every, I don't know, once a quarter, there's like a period where they're like, oh, my eBay sales suck, like I don't get it, eBay sucks, like I don't know if this is for me. And then like a month or two later, things are going great and they're like on a high. So it's like, eBay, you're like on top, or like you're on the bottom. It just never seems to be like, I don't know, but that just might be me overthinking things. But, you know, don't get discouraged. Just don't. That's business. That's entrepreneurship 101. Hang in there, go make it happen, and you will make your first $1,000 on eBay. So with that being said, guys, I want to appreciate you all for watching this video. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.